Good morning, folks. This is Jacob Folger, artist sculptor here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to sculpt a female figure in a kneeling pose. I do it from time to time. It's a good study, a good way to practice sculpting, and it's healthy art to do. Figurative work. So I'm starting off by forming a base for the figure to lay on or pose on. And it looks like this at this point. I'm working an Amico's brand of air dry clay. And I like the clay, but I did look at the fairy house that I did the other day, and ran my fingernail over the bottom of it, and it's definitely not near as hard as Marblex. But you know, the thing about sculpture is it should be considered a fragile item anyways. So I'm not sure that is really something at this point to be concerned about, because I would be very gentle with any sculpture, whether with Marblex or polymer clay or anything that I sculpt. Okay, so we've got a basic base here, and we're going to start the figure. So I'm going to just start by putting it on the base and then just starting to form it. My clay got a little wet. I had to put it in the sink because I knew where else to put it, and the sink got full of water, and next thing I know, I've got a little bit more wet clay than I actually wanted. You know, this kind of sculpting like this is a little bit different than the typical, like, noodles and balls and, you know, or simple shapes, I should say. It's more laying on pieces and just bits of clay and just forming it. And so maybe for a lot of you, you might find it kind of difficult to be able to do that. Maybe, I don't know. Some of you will be able to do it, but others will probably find it difficult. I am doing a little bit of simple shapes. I am doing it a little bit, but you can see how the figure is already coming. Here's the head, the back, the upper leg, and so you can kind of see how it's coming together. And it's really, really good practice to try to sculpt like this. So it might be a bit of more of a demonstration video for you than an actual kind of tutorial. Although I'll try to explain what I'm doing, but mostly it's just somewhat intuitive at this point. So I am trying to build up a shoulder here, kind of, or backbone. This will be the upper arm coming down. And this is here, right here is the breast. And so I want to kind of bring out just a little bit, giving some definition there. And I don't know as yet if I will have much of a lower leg. We'll see how that goes. So you can kind of see how this is happening. And then I'll turn it around and so nothing is happening on the other side. So I need to kind of work on that a little bit. So I have a shoulder blade there. And the spine coming down here. And then her butt. And the hip going down this way a little bit. To build this up a little bit here. On this side, I want to have her arm going down that way. Have her hip coming down. And so press down on that to give some definition so it's kind of below the back. Maybe slim it down a little bit. I'll bring that down towards the base. Maybe give some definition there. Turning it this way. Kind of sculpting the neck and the shoulders coming down to the neck. Redefining the spine a little bit there, which is more of an indentation, not a coming out or that sort of thing. Adding some clay to the head. And then coming back around to the other side, the front side, or what I would call the front side. Maybe defining the neck a little bit. Working on the upper arm. But you see how it's coming together, right? And you can try and do it. And what I would recommend doing is pausing the video as I'm working and working on a particular part, and then once you get it to a point where it looks similar to what I'm doing. Then moving on, starting the video back up again, and just doing it that way. When you start to get the figure coming out, you can take a brush, a paintbrush, dip it in water, get most of the water off of it, and start smoothing, which will can help you get a better visualization of it as it, and also kind of give you a chance to take it in and maybe be a little less stressed about it because it is new. Okay, so we're just kind of smoothing a little bit and adding a little bit of definition. And to kind of bring this out a little bit. But you can see, I'm sure you can see how this has come together in just really a few minutes. I mean, we've been going for about 12 minutes, so it's not a real long process. That's kind of where the knee, and this would be the knee here. And like I say, I don't know that I'm going to do a lower leg on this. So it'll be somewhat abstract. And you can take a tool to kind of define where this meets the leg or the lower leg. Upper leg, I mean, I'm sorry. Clip it in a little bit there. And now we'll move a little bit to this side and start to form that. It would be good maybe to slim this in here just by kind of pushing on it. So it'll be somewhat of a waistline there. Put some definition there. Kind of lift the butt up a little bit. Even take a sharper tool and just kind of define that a little bit. Just to kind of define it, and then you can sort of sculpt it in with your hands a little bit. rounding it and adding little bits of clay to kind of round it and make it look natural and somewhat normal. So the spine line will come to about here, and then sort of stop, and then the buttocks would come together about here. Now, I kind of slim down the waist a little bit, and maybe slim down this hip a little bit. I don't think I'm going to have the breast showing on this side. And define the knee a little bit more. And the upper arm. It might be, see how it looks, but maybe put some definition in here for maybe a lower leg. I'm not sure if that still works, because there may not be enough space, but we can just start it. And trying to define the shoulder blade there. And I do want this this shoulder blade here to be higher. So she's in a way kind of leaning a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take this sculpting tool and cut in below her head. Because I want to move her head a little bit. I want to move it a little bit to the left, like this. Just kind of felt like I would like the head to be in that position more than just coming straight out. Maybe that's just the artist in me coming out. Okay, so that's the basic form. I don't know where you are at this point, but I just recommend trying it. Certainly not being frightened by it. I know a lot of people watch these videos and they just watch them to relax, and that's fine. And then there are others that like to actually try to make things. And I invite you to give it a shot. So now, at this point, I've got the basic idea of what I want here. And I've brought it to the point where I can start my smoothing. And again, the way I do that is I have a can of water and a brush, and I use a couple different brushes. I use this is more of a stiffer brush here, and you can actually carve some with it a little bit, and then I have a much softer bristle brush here. This is for finishing and getting a really smooth finish. And to get the paint to come off the brush, you can use both a rag, and you can also stab the brush into the water. And then when you're smoothing, you actually don't want a lot of water on your brush. So having a rag or a washcloth of some form, you can dab the water off. The brush is going to be a lot more effective if it's not soaking wet, because then you have some drag with the brush. And also, dragging your brush into the work, especially when you get to a point where it's getting really smooth, is the best way, because if you go in like this, if you go, in with your brush like that, it'll put marks in the piece. So I would spend some time smoothing. I just recommend taking your time and just doing a really, really good job. Maybe just put on some music or something like that. Just something to drink, maybe a cup of nice tea, and take your time and just get it really, really, really smooth. And or however you like. I mean, if you like texture, that's fine. But for this piece, for me, I would like it to be very, very smooth. And I may add some to the base later as I'm working on it. Before I come back again. Especially here in the back. We'll see how it goes. And and then when you're ready, put it in the oven and set the oven on warm, and you can dry the surface of the clay that way for about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes at the most, just to get the surface dry, and then we'll put a finish on it that will be quite pretty, I'm sure. So do that, and we'll come back after that point, okay? Do a good job now. Thank you. Okay, I'm not quite done with the smoothing. I want to show you this. I'm going to remove her from the base. And so I'm going to use, you might have seen these around. It is a wire, a very thin wire, but very strong. And on each end there's a toggle like that, which I don't know if I'll require now. But I'm going to basically use the wire to cut her away from the base. And I can look at it from all directions pretty much. And it's pretty easy to do. And then I'll probably have to do some more sculpting. But I think the piece will look a lot better if it doesn't have a base on it. So I just wanted to show you that, and then go ahead and do the smoothing and warming it in the oven to dry it, and then we'll do the finish. Okay, we're back, and the figure is pretty much dry and nice and smooth. And so now we're going to paint it black. Now I'm using Utrecht Studio Series acrylic deep black, but you really can use any kind of black paint, including spray paint. If you use spray paint, I recommend using like Krylon flat black is nice, or some kind of matte black. I wouldn't use a high gloss. Definitely a flat or matte. The Utrecht Studio Series acrylic in deep black is a matte black. And then using a soft bristle brush, we're going to paint the sculpture and get it into all the detail, which is not a whole lot because all the detail is really very smooth and all that. And you're going to want to paint it 2 coats and let it dry really good, and then when we come back, we'll do a bronze finish on it. Okay, we're back, and the figure is all painted, and we're going to put a nice bronze finish on it using Johnson's Paste Wax and Pearl X pigments in antique bronze. And what I do is I put the bronze in a lid like this so I have easy access to it, and put my finger into the wax, get some wax on my fingers, and then I swirl my finger like that just to kind of get the wax spread out on my fingers, and then I dip it into the bronze so it looks like that, and then I swirl that, and you see it suddenly becomes more subdued and kind of softened. And then I just lightly go over the figure, just kind of highlighting it, not really necessarily wanting to cover all the black. I want to try to leave some of that there, and just go over it. Every time I get a little bit of wax, I swirl my finger. Every time I dip my finger in the bronze, I swirl my finger. And then I just put it on. And you can use both your thumb and your forefinger to apply it. Get a little more wax. A little bit more bronze. Swirl my finger in. Put it on. And it's a very nice subdued finish that is actually quite beautiful and actually appears to be like bronze. And then if you want, you can also just get a little wax on your finger after you put the bronze on and go around the figure again and just put a little extra wax coating on it. Let me have a little wax here. Whoops, it looked kind of a gob there. And yeah, and then within maybe, whoops, a lot of extra wax there. I need to rub that in. Okay. And then within a few minutes, you can buff the sculpture. That's the whole idea of paste wax. You know, it has a nice sheen to it. Now the sculpture, again, it's just been surface dried in the oven, so it's not really hard. But I think because the sculpture is mostly very smooth at this point, that a little buffing is not going to hurt it. So I use a soft flannel cloth and just buff it a little bit here and there. Try to bring up that sheen a little bit. You can see it's really quite pretty. Yeah, I mean, that's what you do. And you can see it really brings it out. It brings the bronze out because of the sheen. And I don't usually do it all over the sculpture, but I do it, here and there on the high points like that. And, when people see it, they say, oh my God, that is so beautiful. So, yeah. So it worked out pretty good. I hope you like this kind of content. Doing fairy houses and dragons is all well and good, but, I do actually do quite a bit of figurative work, and was wanted to show you that. And also, it's my birthday today. I'm 60 years old, and I want to do something special. So, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought of the video, if this was good for you, and that sort of thing. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.